Hey everybody, Frank Kern here. Welcome to day number 1 of the Book Funnel Blueprint. So right now, this is of course a live presentation, and what I'm going to be doing for you is having you behind the scenes as we film for the next 3 days the entire product called the Book Funnel Blueprint. And I've never done this before, and I really don't quite know what I'm doing in terms of how to run like a simultaneous live cast and training at the same time. So a couple of words of warning. Number one, we're probably going to screw this up like a million times in terms of you hearing me like yell to Andrew, "Hey dude, edit that part out," or something like that, you know. And that's totally normal and the way we always do it. And the other thing is, it might appear as if I'm talking to myself in schizophrenic because Andrew, who runs all 4 of these cameras, we have one poor, overworked man running all 4 of the cameras in here, and he's doing it from a separate control room over there. So you might just hear me yelling randomly at invisible people, not like yelling at them, but calling out to them. And that's just me trying to get all the camera angles right and stuff. So the version of this that you're watching is literally the behind the scenes version. And it's going to be a little bit strange because I'll talk to you for a minute, like, okay guys, here's what we're about to do. And then I'll switch into this teaching mode where I might sound and look a little different because I'm trying to be, you know, like teaching stuff for the Book Funnel Blueprint and everything. So I'm glad you're here. This is going to be awesome. And book funnels are amazing. And a book funnel can totally change your business. It can change your life. It is awesome. And I'm really, really excited to show you how to do it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you, during the first section of today, an overview of how a book funnel works. So I'm going to kind of show you all the moving parts with my beautiful redneck PowerPoint here. Don't worry if you can't see this yet on camera that well. We have it all set up so we can zoom in and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to walk you through the mechanics of it. I'm going to take you behind the scenes on my book funnel and show that to you on the, oh look, I fooled Andrew there. Did you see that? He went to the wrong one. I'll show that to you on the monitor here and walk you through it webinar style. So we'll do that at the beginning of the day. The second half of today's presentation, I'm going to be walking you through something called the Blueprint to Yes. And it's really we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to show you sort of the basic psychology that will generate a yes, whether it's in a marketing environment or a content marketing type of environment or a direct sales environment or whatever. And we're going to use that same framework to actually get your book created without you having to write anything. And without you having to hire a ghostwriter. And I know that sounds weird, you know, but both of these books are my 2 more recent books that I've released. And I didn't write either one of these things, but it's 100% my content, nor did I hire a ghostwriter. And they're very good books, and people like them a lot. So if you want a book funnel, but you don't want to write a book, and you want to demystify the whole thing, this is for you. So if you're watching this, if we have miraculously made it work to where you can where we've streamed it to Facebook and to our webpage, etc. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button, no, hit the heart button 1 million times, like literally 1 million times, and see if we can spread the word here and get everybody using book funnels because they work really, really well. If you want the notes to this presentation this morning, and by notes, what I really mean is photographs of all of these pieces of paper. I've got several of them I'm going to be walking you through. If you want those, you can have them. You need to text the word notes to, dude, put the thing on the screen because I forgot the number. We have it, there it is. Text the word notes to 858-239-1008, and we'll send you the notes as well, okay? So what do you say we get cracking and start talking about book funnels, and more importantly, how you can actually have a book funnel. So the first thing we got to do is actually have a major shift up here, right? So your greatest obstacle in doing anything when it comes to marketing or comes to business is always right here. I can tell you that from personal experience. So the first thing I want to help you do is I want to help you shift the way you think about this stuff. So tell me if this sounds familiar right here, right? So this is a beautifully rendered graphical representation of a person under stress, all right? So tell me if this situation might sound a little bit familiar to you. You create something, okay, and it works, and then you promote it, And maybe you do like a big launch or something, right? And you get all these customers and stuff, and you're like, yay, I did the big launch. And then you pay your affiliates, and you're like, well, I now have significantly less money than I did prior to doing the big launch, but still, yay, I did a big launch. And then you kind of have to fulfill everything and fulfill all the promises that you made during the promotion. And then the promotion is over, the dust has settled, and you're like, crap, what do I do now? Okay, because I made all of this money, or I had the successful promotion, and now I need to re-engineer the promotion, right? I need to do another thing. It's kind of like you had a good month last month, but as soon as the new month rolls around, the first thing you're asking yourself is, what promotion am I going to run? What am I going to sell? How am I going to get revenue? And that's very, very stressful, right? I call it the cycle of horror. And the cycle of horror is something that almost every marketer that I've ever met finds themselves in. And the first thing I want to do is I want to help you get rid of that and break free of that level of stress and uncertainty and weirdness. Weirdness being clearly a scientific term, okay? So the first thing we've got to do is we have to adopt something. And yes, thank you very much. This is beautiful. I know, you're right, thank you. I drew this myself, as you could tell. This is fantastic. So the first thing we have to do is we have to adopt something. I'll write it here. We have to adopt something called the billionaire mentality, right? So you've heard that expression that success leaves clues, right? 1,000,000 times. It's been said so much now that it's kind of like, yeah, dude, I know success leaves clues. I went to the same seminar you did, man. I read the same books you did. Tell me something I don't know. I feel the same way when I hear it now because it seems like a platitude, right? But it's also very, very true, right? Just like the rule, do unto others, is very, very true. You've heard it 1,000,000 times. There's nothing groundbreaking, but hot diggity, if you live your life by that, things tend to be pretty good. So if we can sort of make the distinction, look, where am I looking? Here, there we go. Okay, trained professionals, ladies and gentlemen. I told you, you do it live, this kind of things happen, right? If you can make the distinction and embrace the fact that, okay, if we know that a certain group of people, whether it's 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, have been able to achieve a certain result, and if we also take into consideration that these people are from all different walks of life and they're achieving the same result through different vehicles, then it might be worth our while to find out how these people think and maybe adopt some of their thinking, right? Because logic dictates that, hey, our thinking leads to our actions, and our actions lead to our results, right? So here's the shift, and here's what the billionaire mentality is all about. Marketers, okay, this is a brilliantly rendered photograph of a frustrated, frazzled marketer. That's what the lightning bolts coming out of their head are meant to mean, right? So we as marketers typically fall into this trap right here where we think only about two things. And these two things are products and promos. Right? So your typical standard issue marketer, okay, is pretty much living in the world of products and promos. I got to make a new product, and then I got to promote the product. And then that promotion's over, and I got to make a new product, and then I got to promote a product. Okay? And hey, you know what? You can make a pretty good bit of money doing that. I've done it before. I was very stressed out. It was very, very difficult, but it was also very lucrative. So I'm certainly not knocking anyone. I just want to open your eyes to maybe something that you'll find a little bit more effective and give you what I think we all want, which is really a life of stress-free abundance. Okay? So we need to now make the shift to what billionaires think about. And if you look at what billionaires do, they basically create what I like to sort of, in my mind, refer to as a box that spits out money. All right? And obviously they don't do this in reality. There's no actual box that spits out money, although that would be awesome. But billionaires and mega successful people, they don't think about products and promos. They think about, I want to build a thing that'll just spit out money without me having to actually do anything. And then I want to take that money and I want to create more of these things, right? And these boxes that spit out money, the real term for this is called assets, all right? So what I want you to do is to, at least during our time together, put aside the concept of products and promos and embrace this concept of assets. Because here's what an asset's job is really meant to do, right? So what an asset really does, all an asset is, in reality, at least for the terms of our discussion, right, is something where you can stick $1 in to an asset and then you get multiple dollars out, right? We've all heard that age-old thing, which is, hey, would you buy $10 for a $1 bill? And another way to frame it is, if you could put $1 into a machine and get $10 out, would you do it? And how many times would you do it? Well, really, that's what an asset is, okay? So traditionally, assets are thought of as things like, buying houses or buying stocks and stuff. But our kind, we marketing folks, we have a totally different class of assets that the rest of the world really doesn't understand. And let's hope they never do understand it, really, because I think, and I'll show to you why I think this. I'll kind of prove it. You can tell me if I've proven it or not. But I'll show you proof of this in a minute. So for our kind, here's what we have as assets, right? Now look, I've got the redneck PowerPoint here, okay? And then I've got the cheat sheets here, right? So I drew the beautiful drawings on this first, and then I drew it on the big one. That's the level of professionalism you can come to expect from live trainings like this. Okay, so what are assets like us, or for what we're doing? Okay, so number one could be a campaign. You build a successful campaign, you can run that thing for years sometimes. Years. You know, one that comes to mind, I'm sure you guys have seen this in the back of Rolling Stone or something, where there's that Athena X pheromones ad. It's typically the size of a business card, and it's like got this lady in a little picture of like an ampule of some kind of mysterious liquid, and it's like, hey, do you want to attract women like crazy? Smear this glop all over yourself and it works. Probably slightly better copy than that. That thing is a campaign that's been running since I was a kid. It's still there, right? That's an asset that these people created one time. They put a little money into it, and it just keeps on cranking out money for them, right? So that's one example of an asset. Another one's going to be an ad. That says advertisement. You just can't read it because my chicken scratch is so bad, right? Another asset is intellectual. Apparently there's an L in intellectual. Another great asset is intellectual property. What you've got in here can be converted into an asset that will produce revenue if done properly, and if combined with what we're going to be talking about today, that can just pay you in a passive or semi-passive manner forever. And if you think about what billionaires do, they build, and the metaphor I use is these boxes that crank out money, and what these boxes that crank out money do is they pay them passively, right? So if a big mega billionaire real estate investor goes out and builds this real estate complex and leases it out for 1 million years or whatever, he's not going to the stupid building every day messing with it. He's just getting checks, right? That's metaphorically a box that spits out money. These types of things can do the exact same purpose, which is awesome. Okay, so other types of assets for us would be a funnel. Okay, it would be a webinar. It would be a video sales letter. I'll just type in VSL, and this is a sales. Now, all of these things, if implemented properly and strategically, right, all of these things can essentially give us this scenario, which is we put $1 in and we get more than $1 out, and we do it in a passive or semi-passive fashion. I'm going to show you some actual numbers from the past 24 hours that are going to blow your mind. I can't believe I got this lucky in doing this, okay? So the first thing we got to do is we have to make this shift. We have to stop thinking about products and promos, and we have to start thinking long-term about assets. What can I create today that's going to continually pay me over time? All right, so Never done it with the big flip charts like this before. I got the idea from Russell Brunson, watching him. It was really cool. And let me tell you something about these big flip charts. All right, so these things, to my knowledge, are impossible to get in the United States. I searched everywhere for them, couldn't find them. Finally had to text Russell and was like, dude, where did you get this thing? He's like, I got it in Italy. So we had to have these shipped over from Italy. So from flipchart.it, you guys over there who got these to us so quickly, thank you very much. They're good people over there. Okay, so let's have a look at this, right? So if we think about really, really successful people who do this type of thing, in the traditional world, right, we've got folks like Warren Buffett. Okay, so everyone knows Warren Buffett, no joke, right? Pretty smart fella. I went to the internet, so what I read there must be true because it was on the internet, and it said his average annual return on his investment is 21.7%. That means if he sticks $1 in to his asset thingy, to his box that spits out money. Of course, his box that spits out money is the stock market and other people's companies and stuff. If he puts $1 into that thing, historically speaking, by the end of the year, it'll give him back $1.21.7, right? And he's like considered to be almost the best in the world. There's another guy who's considered to be even smarter than him. His name is Carl Icahn. And I might have spelled this wrong, and the internet, which again, it must be true, says that he gets 30%. So if Carl Icahn puts $1 into his box that spits out money, and in his case, that's the stock market and other people's companies as well, right? Then by the end of a year, he's going to get $1.30 back. And so both of these guys are considered to be the absolute best in the world, right? Like, period. These are the gold standard of billionaire thinking, where these guys are taking $1, sticking it into an asset, getting more money back, doing it over and over again. They focused on that and that alone, and now they're gazillionaires. And good for them, right? I'm very happy for them. This is awesome. Another person, love him or hate him, is Donald Trump, right? So let's just take off the political hat for a minute and put on the real estate hat. What did he do? He would stick $1 into a black box, and he would get more than that $1 out. In his case, his black box was real estate, right? So I'm just going to draw a picture of a house here, because I like drawing. That's a beautiful picture of a house. Thank you very much, right? So traditionally, we think about like, this is what assets mean. Traditionally, right? But let me ask you a question. You're a marketer, right? You're a student of internet marketing. When has any of us in the internet marketing world ever thought traditionally? Right? Like most of us never finished school. Most of our friends have no idea what the heck it is we do. Most of us, if we try to tell anybody, even begin to tell people what we do, they have no clue what we're talking about. Their eyes glaze over and they're like, yeah, it's great seeing you. I'm going to go talk to this other guy about football or something, right? We never do anything traditionally. But when we do the strategies these people do, but we apply it to our stuff, we crush them. Okay, let's think about now, within the internet marketing world, people who are very, very, very successful, right? Or let's not even go with the internet marketing world. Let's go with just the marketing world in general, right? So one person who comes to mind is the late, great Gary Halbert. Okay, his box that spit out money was really simple. It was a sales letter and a product. That was it. And Gary would stick money into this box. In his case, it was a sales letter, right? And he would mail that sales letter to a list. That was part of the box. That was another asset, a mailing list. And that would create customers. And then those customers would be delivered another asset, right, which was a campaign. And he would get to what we call the 10x profit multiplier stage, which I'll show you in a minute. All of this relates, by the way, to the book funnel. This is almost like how a book funnel's evolved and came into being, right? So that's how Gary Halbert did it. If we talk about another company, Agora, right? So some of you more hardcore marketing types might study Agora. I believe the number is 100 million. I think they're a $100 million company. They are in the newsletter business. Well, they're really in the information business, and one of their flagship offers is typically going to be a newsletter offer. Well, a couple years ago, they created one single asset. That was a VSL, right? And that VSL was called the End of America. They made it one time, all right? And their black box that spit out money looked like this. They would get a lot of people. That's what these eyeballs are, right? This signifies traffic. Maybe should have made something that was a little less weirder looking than these creepy looking eyeballs right here. But they would get traffic. They would send it to asset number 1, which is this video sales letter. That would generate a second asset, which was a customer list, right? These customers would be placed in the third asset, which was a campaign. And then that campaign would yield their 10x profit multiplier. And I'll explain how this part works a little bit later, right? But if you look at all of this, this is essentially a box that spits out money, right? Just like Trump sticks a bunch of money into a real estate process or a real estate project, doesn't do anything after that, box that spits out money. Just like these dudes stick a lot of money into the stock market, that's their box that spits out money. They don't do anything else, they get more than that in return. Our mission never, never, never needs to be about what kind of product can I create now? What's my promotion going to be now? It always needs to be, what can I create now that is going to metaphorically be like this box that spits out more money than I put into it for as long as humanly possible. And the key word here is in a passive or semi-passive manner. I'll give you one more. Another example for people who we know, right, in our little community. Digital marketer, right? So everybody knows them, good folks, Ryan Dice, Richard Lindner over there, really sharp fellas. I had a conversation with Richard Lindner, who was their president of Digital Marketer, brilliant operational guy and marketing guy, very rare combination. Get to know him if you can. Here's their black box that spits out money. They run ads. The ads get customers by showing them sales letters for little reports and books and stuff, all right? These customers are then presented with the opportunity to join Digital Marketer, which is their continuity program. That is almost now creating $1 million a month for them in revenue, all right? And it actually might be more than that now because I haven't spoken to Richard about it in a couple days. Not a couple days, in a couple months, actually. So these are examples of people that we all know that on the surface, especially on this side, right, that on the surface, we might think of these folks as marketers. No, they're not. These people are using the billionaire mentality. They are creating assets. They focus 100% on assets. What can I make now that's going to continue to pay me and bring in revenue? Does that make sense? So, again, by the way, if you want these unscrewed up notes here, I took pictures of all of these pieces of paper for you. And if you want the pictures where I haven't written on them yet, just text notes to the number on your screen there. That is 858-239-1008. And we'll send it to you so you can sort of follow along if you want to at home. Okay, so moving onward. Okay, so in my opinion, the one asset that trumps them all for us, right? Now, it doesn't mean for every single person in the world, but for business owners, especially online people like really most of us here, the number one asset that trumps them all is a book funnel. Hands down. Book funnels are unbelievable, extremely effective, greatest thing in the world. So what I want to do now is I want to show you really why book funnels are so awesome. So the first thing I want to show you is what a book funnel actually is, right? There are really three parts of a book funnel. First thing is the book. This is what everybody focuses on when they first get started. Last thing you need to focus on. The second part is what I'll call the liquidation funnel, right? This is the things that people see right after they buy the book that typically pays for the cost of acquiring this book customer, right? And these are the first two chunks. The final piece is what I call the 10x profit multiplier, okay? And this is really where the big money is in a book funnel. This is the thing that can change your life forever, right? So why should we use book funnels? Okay, what's so great about them? I need to move to my new Redneck PowerPoint notes here. These correspond with what I'm drawing here. So first of all, it's a proven approach, right? It's not like this is a new concept that nobody's ever done before. So consider, who do we know, just off the top of our heads, who do we know that has been extremely successful with book funnels? All right, well, the first person that comes to mind, and the first person I really modeled in doing this is good old Little Buddy, Brendan Burchard, that's my nickname for him, little buddy. Love Brendan Burchard. Who wouldn't, right? Everybody does. So Brendan has been doing BookFunnels forever, right? For how many years has this guy been doing BookFunnels? I think the first one was for the high performance thing, or maybe it was Millionaire Messenger. This is all the way back like 7 years ago. My man has done so many BookFunnels. If you look at him, what does he do all the time? BookFunnels. That's his main thing that gets people in. What do they advertise most of the time? BookFunnels. How many BookFunnels does he have? Well, let's see, Millionaire Messenger, there's High Performance Thingy, there's a Motivation Manifesto. I know there's another one that I'm blanking on. And then he's got the new one coming out, right? Something about the habits. Sorry, Brendan, I'm totally blanking on it, but I'm live on camera. What do you expect, right? So anyway, clearly a proven model just within people we know. Here's another one. Our main man, everybody loves this guy, me included, Jeff, my man, Walker. Also known as Colorado Slim, right? My man Jeff Walker did a single book funnel, one, called Launch, right? Got on the freaking New York Times bestseller list. That's kind of a random byproduct, okay? That's pretty sweet. 7 figures just from the book funnel. Where do new customers come from now? The book funnel. Here's another one. Would you be interested would you think book funnels were cool if you know there was a person who built a $200 million per year empire on BookFunnels? Well, there is. He's got one running right now. His name is Dean Graziosi, all right? And I'll just abbreviate it, Dean G. Dean has been doing BookFunnels since before any of us internet knuckleheads ever had the concept of doing BookFunnels. This guy was doing them on television, right? So the one he's got right now is Millionaire Success Habits, Runaway Success, very, very successful, all right? That one's working. The first one on television was, I think it was either Think a Little Bit Different or You Can Be a Real Estate Millionaire. I can't remember the titles of them. But he did them on TV and online. He's been doing BookFunnels for probably 20-something years. If you look at the front end getting of a customer, the main thing that the public sees for 1, 2, 3, what is it? It's a book funnel, right? Why? Why do all of these wildly successful people have the main front end as a book funnel? Oh, I don't know, because they don't work? No, because they work, right? They work really, really well if you do them properly. Today, during this presentation, I'm going to show you how to do them properly, because a lot of stuff is counterintuitive, all right? So it's a little bit different. Okay, another one is my man Russell Brunson. All right, Russell Brunson had to be a show-off a couple months ago and sell 50,000 copies of his Expert Secrets book. More than 50,000 copies in like a month or something ridiculous. Like, dude, what in the world? That's a gazillion copies of the book. That's like more copies of a book than a regular author would sell in their first month. Like, maybe if it's the new Harry Potter, you'll do more than that. But typically, I mean, this is like publishing houses freak out over numbers like this. My man did it in about a month. Why? Why would he put that much effort into creating a book funnel? I don't know. Because it works, maybe, right? They work really, really well. Now, another reason you want to do this is because one book can change everything for you as a business person. So I'll tell you a little story. I have had back pain off and on since I was like 17 or 18 years old. And I don't know why. Apparently, I overexerted myself playing video games or something. I did have to use move a lot of equipment when I was a musician, so maybe I heard it that, like lugging, Hammond organs and stuff upstairs and all of that kind of thing for 4 years. But I had this back pain, and a friend of mine in high school said, you should read this book called Pain Free. And I'm like, okay. By God, I'll go and I'll read that book called Pain Free because my back hurts. And I didn't want to go to the doctor or anything. I didn't have any money to go to the doctor, first of all, but also just didn't want to go to the doctor. They freak me out. That's how you get sick, going to the doctor. Not really, that's a joke. But I go and I get the book Pain Free. And I read it, right? And I'm like, okay. And the book is like, it's by a fellow named Pete Egoscue. Some of you guys have probably read it. It's a really good book. And he's like, all right, man, you need to do these very weird-looking exercises that are counterintuitive. You'd never think they'd work. And I'm like, well, nobody's looking, I'll do them, right? Because you really get contorted and weird looking in some of these exercises. So I do them, and I'm like, I'll be down. Back doesn't hurt anymore. Go about my day, right? So I'm like, great, never think about it again. 3 weeks ago, I swear to God, hurt my back yawning. First of all, who hurts themselves yawning, okay? Me. I'm yawning and like do like the stretch yawn, like, you go like that, back just locks up. So I'm like, oh my God. And so now I'm like I remember the next morning I'm trying to carry coffee upstairs for my wife, and literally just the weight of the coffee was causing my back to spasm, and I damn near fell down the stairs and spilled the coffee. It was terrible. So what did I do? As I was like, wait a minute, I remember from when I was 17 that this dude was in San Diego, which is where I lived. So I Googled it, Pete Egoscue, San Diego, and I get to the man's website. And I go on to discover that he had 21 clinics worldwide. 21 clinics this dude's got. I mean, this is no mom and pop operation anymore. This is global, right? And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. He has one down the street. I go to it, right? Beautiful, huge office, like really, really nice. Everyone's great. It's a good experience. So I go in there. I'm in the waiting room. What do I see? Copies of this one book. I didn't see a million other books. I saw copies of this one book. This one book allowed him to get his message into so many people's hands that it was able to grow a business which just treats back pain to have 21 locations around the world, one single book. So book funnels are really, really good. So this is kind of the social proof element of book funnels. Of course, I've done them as well. I've sold over $50,000 of these two combined. I'll show you some numbers, just like yesterday and today's numbers, just to sort of give you context of this, right? But now let's talk about the ancillary benefits that a book funnel can provide for you, okay? So, where's my blue pen? I wanted to match. Oh, there it is. All right. We'll keep matching. You always have to match when you're doing these, you know. All right. So, number one, it can give you the thing that we all want online, which is authority and credibility. Good Lord, I can't write. Credibility. I'll just write cred there. So you know what I mean. Authority and credibility. Why? Because you wrote a book, dude. I mean, like you wrote the book on the thing. And the public perception, if you have a book on a topic, you must know what you're talking about. Now, this does not mean that merely having a book is going to give you this. If the book is terrible, and it just, you open the book up and it's like coloring book and there's nothing in there. And of course, everything you did is going to go out the window. But if your book's worth a damn, your authority and credibility is just shot right up the roof, right? And who do we typically buy from? Credible people with authority, right? So having this makes it much easier for you to sell other stuff, right? Now, notice I got a star by this one, right? A book funnel also gives you immediate buyers, okay? So you guys are students of marketing, right? Is it easier to make the second sale than it is the first sale? Like if you've already sold somebody something and you don't screw that up, how much easier is it to sell them the next thing? You know why? My teacher, Dan Kennedy, you guys probably know Dan as well, he says it best. He says a buyer is a buyer is a buyer is a buyer is a buyer, which means buyers like to buy things. You and I are no different, right? Like if we're into something, we'll buy everything. Assuming we have a pretty good experience. When I first got into surfing, I ended up with 30-something surfboards in less than 18 months. And that's like an expensive hobby. Those things are between $300 and $1,000 each. I just went crazy. Why? Because a buyer is a buyer is a buyer, right? So what this allows us to do is this, if done properly, allows us to generate buyers doing these two things, which I'll explain to you what it is in a minute. Now, the really good part of this, notice we have 3 stars here. Right? The really cool thing about a book funnel is it allows us to get buyers, and we can deliver through the book, we can deliver the most important thing in any marketing and selling equation ever, right? And that is results in advance. I'm just going to write this as RIA, results in advance. I'll go through this for you in a minute, what this really means specifically, okay? But if they read the book and we do a good job of delivering them results in advance, they're going to love us, right? And they're going to buy our next stuff, or they're going to be at least way more inclined to buy whatever else we have because we already helped them through the book, right? I mean, how many times have you read a book and you're like, damn, this is good. I'm going to go out and get more stuff from this guy. We all have, right? That's great. In the case of a book funnel, we're just deliberately engineering that experience. So with traditional books, it just sort of happens organically and by accident. With our kind, we can sort of rig the game by making sure they get these results. And the next piece, which is number 3 reason, maybe this is even the biggest reason is this. I'll write it for you, and then I'll explain it. This says, man, I really need to work on my penmanship. That was my first bad grade in school, of many, was penmanship. I got a C. My poor mother almost lost it. She was like, you can't get a C in handwriting? It's like, hey, it's better than a D, right? And how do you know it says C? My C could really look like anything at this stage. So what you're doing is you're getting paid, right? So what this part of a book funnel right here, this first section of it, what this does is this allows you to get paid to generate a buyer, okay? So if everything is done properly and the heavens align and the gods are with you and you write good copy and you know what you're doing, you're going to get a buyer, but you're going to get a buyer at break even or a profit, right? So you're getting paid to get this person so you can now get paid again. So you're basically getting paid to get paid, because what this 10x profit multiplier is, I call this the main thing. This is the main thing that you actually sell through a book funnel. Don't worry if it doesn't quite make sense yet. I'll walk you through mine and you'll be like, oh, dude, crystal clear, right? So what we've got so far is biggest shift you need to make is, number one, no more thinking about promotions and products, right? We don't think about that. Instead, we start thinking about everything as assets. Can I build something that's going to continually allow me to put $1 in and get $10 out or whatever every single time, passively or semi-passively? Does that make sense? Okay, so this is sort of why use a book funnel, right? And the next thing I want to share with you, and this has really good artwork on it, by the way. The next thing I want to share with you are the dangerous and deadly myths. You got your dangerous, you got your deadly, right? The dangerous and deadly myths of a book funnel. So the first time I did a big book funnel that was really, really successful was this guy right here. And some of you guys have this, and I've signed so many copies of this thing. So many people love this book, so thank you everyone who got it. I'm making the 2.0 version, a couple months, maybe, if I get around to it. So this little book's called Convert, right? And I sold it, and I did the free plus shipping offer. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. And I sold something like 30,000 copies of it, like insane, right? It took off. And I'm thinking, I'm looking in the bank, and I'm looking at all that money, and I'm like, well, might as well quit working. I'm going to be rich, right? And then I got the bill. And I really when they told me how much it cost to print a book, I was like, okay, well, that's not that bad. To print one of these things out, I think it's like $5 or $6 or something like that in printing. And then the shipping anywhere domestically is typically $5.60 if you use USPS. So I'm like, all right, well, that's not that big of a deal. And then I got the bill. And my bill, it pains me to say this out loud, my shipping bill and printing bill was not $300. It was $300,000. And I was like, wow, the profits from this promotion really just went out the window. And so one of the biggest myths that we believe, because we see everybody else doing it, is that we have to do free plus shipping. Right? Now, why do we believe we have to do free plus shipping? Because that's what we see everybody else doing, right? So you must be thinking in a book funnel, like, oh yeah, that's one of those things where it's a free plus shipping offer, and they just pay you like $7 to cover shipping, and then you mail them the book. And you know what? That works. You know why so many people do it this way? Because you don't have to try as hard. It's easy to write an email that goes, hey, get my book for free, go over here, and then they go, oh, you got to pay shipping, and it's just a lot easier from a marketing perspective to get that done. But it's not necessary, and it's not as profitable. The other thing that I'm happy to tell you is you have no need for printed copies at all, right? So not only do you have to do the free plus shipping thing, or do you not have to do the free plus shipping thing, totally unnecessary, you don't have to print the dang book at all, whatsoever. And this is a beautiful drawing here. This is a dude, and he's standing in front of a pile of books, and this is a box that he's going to have to ship the books in, and it's got a little arrow through it. It's like no boxes, right? You don't have to ship anything. And so I sold probably 40-something thousand copies of books over time before it ever dawned on me to say, Frank, marketers, you've been doing this for a while, and apparently there's this thing called testing that you could do. And if you do this crazy testing thing, you might want to see what would happen if you just offered your business or your book as an electronic download. And who knows, maybe they'll buy it anyway. So I decided to go crazy and use this new testing concept, right? 40,000 books later, 300,000 in shipping bills later, guess what I found? You ain't got to ship the book at all. People will buy it as a downloadable book, no problem, right? Every one of my books that I've sold since, last September or something has been digitally delivered. No problem whatsoever, has had zero effect on sales. I'll say it again, zero effect on sales. So what this means is had I been smart and tested originally and not believed this myth that you have to do the free plus shipping, how much extra money would I have today? $300,000. I don't know about you, but I think every $300,000 helps, right? I mean, who wouldn't want an extra $300,000? So here are two really, really big myths. Here's the third and biggest myth. And this is one that people are going to try to gloss over for you, all right? And what this is meant to say, now notice what we have here. Yes, these are probably the best looking, slightly inappropriate looking palm trees ever drawn here. But this is supposed to be a dude on a hammock between two palm trees, just sitting here in the sun, just relaxing, just living the internet lifestyle. He's just living the laptop lifestyle, bro. You just sell books, don't have to do anything ever. Well, that sounds really good in the infomercials, right? It's not necessarily true. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Okay? And what this means is that just because your book is inexpensive, and just because you're going to sell it for $5, hey, you might do free plus shipping, whatever you want to do is okay, you just don't have to. You might sell it as a $5 or $7 download. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean that all you got to do is be like, hey, I got this book, it's awesome, you should get it. Yay! And everyone's going to get it. You still have to actually try to sell something for $5 just as much as you would try to sell something for $50. Okay? So that's what I mean. There's no free lunch with this thing. The fact that it is inexpensive alone does not mean it's going to be easy, quote unquote, to sell. Now, if the idea of creating sales materials that actually sell this stuff is a little bit intimidating to you, and you're like, but dude, I don't know how to write copy and stuff. Well, that's what we're doing in this class. I've got a template for it and a framework for it. But if only I would teach it to you. Oh wait, I will teach it to you in this very class. I'll teach you the framework for the sales letter, and I'll teach you a framework for a video sales letter. So you'll never have the problem of not knowing how to do it again. But you got to do it, right? You can't just be like, I have a book, add to cart. That doesn't work, okay? We have to actually make a deliberate effort to sell it. And I'll teach you how to do it as we work together. But these are the big myths, right? So this has killed many a dream, both of these. This has kept people from actually starting a book funnel because they're like, I don't want to have to go out and order 100 or 1,000 copies of this book. That's going to set me back. And it will, and it sucks. Or you have people like, well, I did a book, and I put it on a web page with an add to cart button because that's what it looks like on Amazon, and nobody bought it. Well, you still got to try, okay? So if we avoid these danger zones, life will be very, very good with a book funnel for you, okay? So are you liking the drawings? Are they good? Are you guys enjoying this, by the way, on the Facebooks or whatever? If you are, hit the like or the heart button and share this so we can help everybody, right? Everybody needs a book funnel, okay? Book funnels work really, really well, and plus, I feel really good about it if I know that I'm helping you. So let me know in the comments if you're enjoying it. Hit the heart button about 7 million times, Go crazy on the heart button there. If you're watching it on my webpage, thank you very much for being here. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And I will answer, not all of them, because there's probably a lot, but I'll answer the most relevant ones later when we're done this afternoon. Okay? So, what does a book funnel sell? Okay? What can you really sell with a book funnel? Now, the first thing that comes to mind is that a book funnel is really good for selling books, right? And then you think, well, a book funnel, okay, who do I know that sold book funnels? Well, there's Brendan, so I know that you buy his book funnel and then eventually you can buy one of his online classes or whatever. Or Frank, right? Me, and you're like, well, you buy Frank's book funnel, you can buy his online class or his other thing or whatever. And it tends to, because we live in this this narrow niche, right? I mean, if you're like me, then everybody you know is in the internet marketing world, like all your friends are doing it, so that tends to sort of give us tunnel vision. And we think, oh, well, BookFunnels are used only for this one thing. They're not, right? The answer to this question, which is, what can a BookFunnel actually sell, is damn near anything, okay? That's really what it is. So again, the way a BookFunnel works is you've really got two main components. This is the liquidation part. We'll call this the front end part right here. Let me move out of your way there. There we go, yeah. So this right here is the front end part. This is the book, they buy the book, they go into that immediate liquidation funnel. Don't worry, I'll walk you through what mine looks like. The purpose of this is to get a book buyer for free, meaning break even, or a small profit, okay? We don't really get super rich from this. I mean, maybe some people do, but typically they don't. The second part of the book funnel is what I call the main thing, also known as the 10x profit multiplier. This is what a book funnel really sells, right? The purpose of the book funnel is to get a buyer at break even or better, serve that buyer really, really well and impeccably so that they will successfully go through the process of your 10x profit multiplier. And I'll show you how all this works in a minute. Of course I will, throughout our entire time while we're going through this class, right? So the question is, well, what can we sell through a book funnel? So we know this part of it sells like books and information stuff, right? Typically, okay? So what can you sell through a 10x multiplier thing? Well, number one, let me get my blue pen here, is the obvious, right? So this is what like most people do, okay? Classes and courses. Okay, excuse my penmanship there. It's never been my strong suit. So if you're familiar with like the marketing world, that you know that if you buy a book from me, or if you buy a book from Brendan, or if you buy a book from Dean, or if you bought a book from Russell, right? And who else did we mention? I can't remember, but really anybody, oh, Jeff, right? So if you buy any of our books or our book funnels, ultimately the main thing here is going to be classes and courses, right? Really simple, really dead simple. But it's not just that. Another thing you could sell is services, right? So if you're a consultant, right, services is it, or the Egoscue story, right? Remember, I bought that book pain-free years ago. I end up going there for the service of them helping me fix my back problems, which actually it worked, by the way. Thank you, fellas. That was great. So if you go through that services route, you can sell that through a book funnel, right? Another thing you can sell is masterminds. I'll just put Master M right there, right? Masterminds. Case in point being my man Joe Polish, right? Everybody knows and loves Joe Polish with the 25K group. That's all he's got. He's got a new book called, I think it's called The Marketing Book for the Average Joe. Guess what it tells them to do? Guess what the funnel is after they buy the book? Join the 25K group, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, a book can be sold for classes and courses. Yeah, but you can sell services, like actual services, like get your back fixed and stuff. You can sell masterminds for $25,000. Yes. I have another client. His name is Lawrence Bensdorp. Super cool guy. He's in the stock trading world. And this guy's like freakishly intelligent when it comes to trading stocks. He's very, very good at it. He has a book, and he has none of this, but he has this, right? So his book funnel goes straight from this right here. This is anywhere between $30,000 and $100,000 for one-on-one coaching. Let me fill that back in, okay? Coaching for how to do stocks better. There's probably a better term for that. You know, how to trade the stock market better. He's got clients all over the world. And for that kind of money, he'll go to their house and he'll work with them. That's really, really cool, and they like it, and they're very happy. He's very happy. Book, straight into coaching, right? Awesome. Another thing you can sell is, of course, the brother of coaching, the cousin of coaching is going to be consulting, right? Perfect. Same thing. Another one is continuity, which is my main thing. My big thing really is continuity. So I have this thing called the Kern Inner Circle. A lot of you guys probably know about it, right? The whole purpose of this book right here, which is our only thing that we advertise, and we've been doing this since May of last year, The only thing, no, it says May of 2016, yeah, that's last year. The only thing we advertise is this guy right here. The purpose of this is to demonstrate value, help people so that they're more inclined to join the Kern Inner Circle, right? The final thing is actual products. So, I know you'll find this hard to believe, but I'm not that great at exercising. Who would have guessed, right? And years ago, I was really not that great at exercising, and I'd gotten a little bit, what's a polite way to say it, husky, right? A little bit husky is all it was. So I go to the bookstore. This is back when they had bookstores. This is like in the 90s, right? Right when I had just gotten started online. I started in 1999. And I go to the bookstore, and I buy this book, and the book is called Body for Life. How many of you guys remember the book Body for Life by a fellow named Bill Phillips? So type in if you remember that. Let me know if you've been through this thing too. Let me tell you something. That book is amazing. If you do what the book says, it's incredible, right? You'll get in great shape and you'll lose weight and you'll feel pretty good. I've gone through it twice. It's worked both times. What do you know? It's a fluke. You follow the directions and stuff actually happens. So I get the book, and all through the book, he's giving you these recipes, right? And the recipes are like telling you to make these protein shakes and stuff and make dessert substitutes with this protein powder and to eat some energy bars and things. And all the energy bars and the protein powder is made with this stuff called Myoplex. And Myoplex is made by this company called EAS. Guess who owned EAS? The author of the book. My man, Bill Phillips. I don't know Bill personally, but thank you for writing that book, Bill. It was awesome. You know, I heard that he sold EAS for something like $200 million. I don't know about you, but writing a book that helps people a lot and ultimately helping that build a company that you can sell for $200 million sounds pretty freaking cool, okay? So you can use a book. It's not limited to just information marketing, people. I'll give you another example. A friend of mine and client, Matt Zagula. What a name, right? Zagula. He lives in Weirton, West Virginia. Matt Zagula in Weirton, West Virginia. It sounds like something straight out of a book, doesn't it? Anyway, Matt is in the estate planning business, right? So his service, which is here, you're selling services, his service is helping people who are old plan for retirement and not lose all their money to the government, and if they die, not give it all up in probate and all of that kind of stuff. He wrote a book called Invasion of the Money Snatchers. This business, locally, kablam, exploded, right? Because of the way he leveraged the book. So book funnels can be used to sell all kinds of things, right? It's not just the tunnel vision for our little world. It's everything, right? That's why I said when I invited you to this, I was like, listen, I think every business can benefit from a book funnel. I really do. So the question now becomes, well, how do, I think that's the next question. Let's see here. How do these newfangled book funnels actually make the sale? How do they really work? So I'm going to walk you through mine in a minute, okay? But first, I'll sort of diagram it out for you. And again, guys, if you want these notes, I know I've said it a million times, but people tune in and tune out and stuff. If you want the unvandalized copies of these pages that I'm flipping through right now, just text the word notes to 858-239-1008. You'll get an automated text back from us. You're going to have to give me permission to follow up with you via text. So you have to text yes. I don't want to be like out of compliance there. But earlier this morning, we actually took photographs of all of these and put them in a PDF for you. So if you'd like that, we got them for you. No problem. Okay, so how does a book funnel actually accomplish selling all the stuff that I mentioned on this earlier page, right? How do you do it? Well, I'll tell you how right now. How do you like them apples? Okay, first thing we got to do is remember we have two parts of a book funnel, part number one and part number two. Part number one is really, I call it the front end. The purpose of this is to get a customer, right? To get a buyer at break even or better. Okay, that's all we really care about here. And to do that in a way that's really friendly to the buyer, obviously. We don't want to get the buyer at any available cost, right? We want to be nice and we don't want to pull any shenanigans. That kind of goes without saying. Okay, part number two here is the 10x profit multiplier. This is the back end. This is the main thing, right? Don't worry, I'll show you how mine works in a minute so you really know. Okay, so let's kind of walk through it. So what happens is the first thing that we're doing is someone comes into the book funnel, they buy the book, they go through the liquidation funnel right here, and we're basically getting paid immediately, right? Because what they do, they bought a book, right? Which means they are paying us. And if we're driving traffic through advertising, which we always should be, I'll show you like statistically why in a minute, that means if we do it right and the gods are with us, right, then we're actually getting a little bit of profit right up front just for getting that book buyer. Dream situation. Now, what happens, what a book buyer really is, right here, is I'm going to try to write this out for you. I don't know if you can see it. This is a buyer in need. So when somebody buys your book, right, they're basically identifying themselves as a buyer, number one, because they bought something. Now, man, I got to tell you, you got opt-ins, like you can drive traffic to an opt-in page or whatever, and you're going to get an opt-in. Those are not buyers. If you drive traffic to a book funnel, you're getting someone who has bought something from you. I'll guarantee you this right now. If you go out and you sell 1,000 books, and then you compare that to 1,000 email addresses that opted in, you send them both the same broadcast. Those people who bought the books, even though there are 9,000 fewer of them, you'll get more clicks and opens and response from your buyers than you will from your opt-ins. It's unbelievable, right? And it's logical. I mean, because they're buyers, okay? They're not just people wanting free stuff online. They're freaking buyers. And there's a whole different level of the game. Even though they only bought something for a couple bucks, it doesn't matter. Still a buyer, right? But what they are is they're a buyer in need. For example, when I sell this book, when someone buys this book, okay, How to Get Some Consulting Clients Fast, even if no one's ever heard of you, these are buyers and they're in need. What are they in need of, right? What are they in need of? Clients. Okay, they're in need of clients, and they're in need of clients fast. Okay, so it's the job of the book. It's the job of the book content. Okay, so I'll draw a little bit of this to take them from being a buyer in need to being a buyer. Notice we've got a different face here, right? Smiley face with dollar signs. This person is now a buyer with confidence and capabilities. And I'll abbreviate that, right? So what happens is if he buys this book, I'll just use the word he because it's easy to remember. If he buys this book and reads the book, he is now a buyer with confidence and capabilities. Why? Okay? Well, if someone buys this book right here, right, which they should if they want to get clients fast, and they read it, they'd be like, okay, this makes sense. Well, what do you know? Here's the script for making the irresistible intrigue offer. I now have a capability, right? Here's the script for the collaborative close. I now have a capability. Here's how to find people that are most likely to pay me using advertising. I'll be damned, I now have a capability. Because I have gained all of these capabilities, I now feel confident. Okay, now let me ask you a question. If you feel confident and capable of getting a result, are you going to be more receptive to a proposition that says, would you like me to help you some more towards getting this result? Or are you going to be, I don't think so, skeptical, right? Clearly, you're going to feel more receptive. So when you create a buyer with confidence and capabilities, having that confidence and having those capabilities puts that person into what I like to call, it's supposed to be a star, there we go, what I like to call a receptive buying state. That means they feel good, they're happy, they can do something, they're confident, they're going to be receptive. Doesn't mean they're all going to buy. Of course, like not everybody buys everything. That's ludicrous, right? But they're going to be receptive, and that's going to make this thing work a lot better. And what this thing does is this is what actually makes you the fortune, okay? So this part is really the thing that this is built to support right here. So the question now becomes, well, how does this process actually take a buyer in need and create a buyer with confidence and capabilities? How's that work, right? What do we got to do? What's the process, you know? Well, it's simple. We give them something called results in advance. The act of providing somebody with results in advance is the single most powerful marketing and selling and bonding tool ever, period, right? If you can help somebody a little bit or even a lot prior to asking for a major commitment from them, they're going to be way more receptive to your offer because you have helped them. Right? So what the book is designed to do is provide them with results in advance that make them feel confident and capable. For example, you buy this book, right? This is not an infomercial for the book. I'm assuming most of you guys have this book, right? So if you buy this book, you're going to know the process for generating leads. That's one result. You're like, heck, now I can get leads. Yay. You're going to know where to find these leads. I show you how to get Facebook audiences and stuff. You're going to be like, man, that's another result. You're going to know what to say to these leads. Actually, you're going to know how to get these leads on your list. Then you're going to know what to say to these leads so they're reaching out to you saying, hey, I'm interested in working with you. And then you're going to know what to say to those leads to convert them into an actual client. What is that? Results in advance. Before you ever get here to the main thing, you already have confidence and capabilities, right? So that really is how a book funnel is meant to function. Okay, so now what we need to do is I need to show you mechanically how to do that. So we got a lot of things we got to do, right? We got to figure out how to actually get the book done. That's thing number one. We got to figure out what to sell here. We got to figure out what to sell here. We got to figure out how to sell all of this stuff. Well, that's what we're going to do during our time together in this class. So what we're going to do, we're amazingly good on time. I need to switch. I think I can just do it, actually. I'm going to switch from whiteboard here. We looking good over there, Sass? All right. You can't hear him answer. Yeah, you probably think I'm just here by myself. I'm not. That would be pretty funny, though. Okay, so now I look at the red camera. We already practiced this. Okay, look at there. Am I good? All right. Get a little water. Let's see. So now I want to walk you through all this stuff. I'll wait for my man Andrew to move the camera a little bit. Okay, see if you can do something about this going on. Can you Photoshop that out? Look at that thing. That's not what you want right there. I tell you what, that's too much chicken. Okay. Clearly, this part won't be in the product. You know, this is what I mean when I told you earlier, it was like, you're going to be seeing us potentially acting like a couple knuckleheads by us, and a couple, I really mean me. You can't see Andrew or anybody else. So that's it. So I'm going to let him go ahead and get ready to where you can see my actual screen. All right. And now I want to walk you through this. And you know, Sass, I'm going to need to show them like my screen webinar style, and then I'll need to point to the big ass monitor over there as well. So if you could do the magic with the switching or whatever, but it doesn't have to be too fancy or anything. So tell me when you're ready and we'll fire it up. Hope you guys are digging this, by the way. If you are, spread the love. Spread the love. Surely that's a song, right? Hit the love button on your Facebooks. If you're watching this through Facebook, if you're on my website, leave a nice comment or something. You know, my ego is very fragile. I need a lot of reassurance. Tell your friends, if you got a buddy who would benefit from being on this thing, feel free to forward the link to them. All are welcome here today. That would be good. Okay, so we good? All right. How do you like them apples? Okay, so now let me walk you through mine. Okay, so I'll show you how my book funnel works, and then I can't believe how lucky I got, by the way. All right, so first of all, like I told you, the book funnel is really divided into two parts. There's the front end funnel, all right, and then there's the main thing, okay? So the front end funnel, that's your book, all righty. And then you remember I drew that funnel on the paper and I was like, had the little drawing on the funnel? Well, what that really is a couple of one-click upsells after they buy the book. And then, this is optional, you can have something called a Slack adjuster, right? And a Slack adjuster is another offer that's made later that can sort of help you get your money back from advertising. Okay, so this one little chunk right now for us, now remember, the book funnel here, show me again here, Sass. And all right, there we go. So this is my book, right? And so I don't sell this physically anymore. It's all downloadable because there was no difference in selling. I would rather keep the money than have to pay it out in shipping. Nor do I want people to have to wait. It's a pain in the butt to track packages and stuff. But when we sell this right here, okay, the buyers go through that stuff on the screen. All right, so you can show the screen again real quick. Okay, so for this little part of the front end, not including the Slack adjuster. So can you show me in the screen real quick? Oh, look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that. So, but you can see it on your screen. So these two pieces right here, the first two boxes. So when we go back to the actual full screen, these two little pieces right here are providing. Oh, look, now he's moving look at him go over there. He's moving the camera back there. We're going to have a lot of editing in the real one. That's okay, though. It doesn't matter. You guys are cool, right? It's behind the scenes. That's what we're doing. Okay, so here, switch it back. Oh, never mind. We're good. Okay, just leave it there. All right, so those two boxes, the book and the one-click upsells, you see that text I have under that little diagram? It says I'm now averaging just under 20% profit per day just from that. So this means that on average every day, if I stick $1 in, I'm getting $1.20 back, and that's not including money made from the Slack adjuster, okay? So that's just the red one, there we go. That's just the front end. Now the second part of this is the main thing, okay? The main, what am I? Oh, all right, and I still look at the red one? Oh no, I look at the paper cam now. I think I'm paper camming it. That's red, so paper cam. Okay, I'm used to looking at it. Oh man, I'm all over the place. Okay. Well, you always want to make eye contact with people. All right, so that's not including the Slack adjuster. So the real money is in the main thing, and this is where the obnoxious profit comes. Am I red again? All right, there we go. Okay, so let me show you mine. Let me show you how it works, all right? So before I do, I just got to show you some numbers. This is ridiculous, okay? I cannot believe this actually happened. So last night, I took this screenshot for you. Hang on, I just dropped my little mic thingy. Last night I took this screenshot for you, and it was around 6:30 in the evening. And this was right after I finished making those beautiful Redneck PowerPoints for you. Thank you very much. And this is a shot from ClickFunnels, and it's showing you my sales for the day. And I want you to notice something. You see where it says $842.80 at the top? That's not the accurate sales number because ClickFunnels, for whatever reason, it doesn't count the last 2 upsells towards that total collected during the day. And I think it's just a glitch in my account. I think it works for everybody else's, right? So that final upsell that you see on your screen there, it says Video Black Box, that's another $97 collected, and it's another $97 payable in 30 days. So in reality, what we actually collected yesterday was by like 6:30 was $939.80, okay? This is my Facebook ad spend. So this is a new campaign. I just launched it the night before last at around 11 o'clock. So that's why the spend is kind of low so far. The total amount spent there was $592.43. So I spent $592.43, and it turned into $939.80 collected. All right? Let me get you that through. Oh man, I've jumped. Hang on. I want to show you something. I want to make this make more sense. Bing. There we go. Okay. Now, that was a total profit at yesterday at like 6:30 of 600. Is that right? Dang it. I moved my dang slides. Is that the one? No. Oh, hell, I've messed it up. Let's see. What was that profit? This is like the cool. I did this morning. I was like, and last night. Yeah, so 939, 5 something. Okay, so that profit was, where are we in the slides? Oh, hell, I've lost it. I drew over it. Let me show you the cooler part. So fast forward to this morning, okay? So this morning, I went and checked stats again, right? And I was like, okay, let's see what happened the rest of the day. Because remember that screenshot was from yesterday at like 6 o'clock or whatever, 6:30. So I woke up this morning at about 6:30. I'm like, I wonder if we actually kept making sales last night and stuff. And lo and behold, by the end of the day, by midnight last night, the total sales were actually $1,435.80 collected, okay? So notice that, again, you see that top number says 1,200, but ClickFunnels doesn't count those last 2 upsells in their stats. So each one of those are $97 collected. So if you add it all up, it's $1,435.80 collected. The total spend yesterday was $778.21. So if you do the math there, let's see if this is right. Man, I totally got this thing all wrong. If you do the math there, where are we? Boom. Now, if we do the math on that one from yesterday's totals, it was a net profit over ad spend of $659. That's an 84.5% return. Okay, now let's look at this morning. Okay, so I'm making these slides for you, clearly screwed it up this morning by getting them out of order. All right, so then I get up again this morning, and I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on for today. Okay, and this is a couple of hours ago today. So for this campaign that I just created, we had collected $684.40. And notice there's a discrepancy. It says at the top of the page there at $393.40. But again, there are 3 sales of $97 that ClickFunnels just doesn't count towards that total for whatever reason. I think it's just a weird glitch in the system right now. But it's $684.40 collected. Now what's really cool is there are also another 3 additional payments of $97 that'll come in over time because some of these are payment plans. I don't even count that. right? This is just numbers. This is just money collected. Have a look at this. I had only spent, when I took this screenshot for you this morning, and again, this is like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd only spent $173.12. Now, that's ridiculous, right? Now, that total profit right there is $511.28. That's almost a 300% return on the ad spend. That means I put $1 in, I got my dollar back, and I got almost $3 more in profit in the same day. This is before noon, in the same day, right? So this is just like ridiculous, and this is what I mean. Now, a couple things I got to tell you. Number one, this is a fluke. I can't believe this happened, right? It just like would never happen on the day of you're about to do the teaching. You just happen to have an amazing morning in terms of this brand new campaign. Usually we don't have like a 300% profit on the ads in the same day. So it's typically going to be around 20%. So I put $1 in. That same day, I'm getting my dollar back plus an additional 20 cents, usually, right? These just happen to be, for whatever reason, the gods were with me on that day, and it was all cool. So let me show you like why a book funnel is typically better. Number one, you're getting buyers, right? Aside from like actually making profit. Number two, the list you generate, like I told you, is going to be roughly 10 times more responsive than someone who just opts in for a report or whatever. Ideally, like I just showed you, you're actually turning a profit on cash collected every day, which means that every future sale you make is profit. So let me show you something, all right? So I'll diagram it out for you. So the way our funnel works, okay, and that's to sell my consulting book, is I got ads, you've probably seen them, on Facebook, right? So people see a Facebook ad or whatever, they click the ad, they go to a sales letter that sells my book. Yes, I know, an actual sales letter. God forbid, you know what, old-fashioned over here. So they go to a sales letter that sells the book, and then when they buy the book, they see a couple of upsells, right? I have 2 products. I got my reframe product for $297. There's a downsell if they don't want it for split pay, and then there's Video Black Box, and that's also a split pay of 2 payments of $97. So there's 2 different products I offer as one-click upsells, not obnoxious or anything, you know, just like, hey, all my videos are very educational. As a matter of fact, I'll teach you during this training the structure on how to script an upsell video specifically for this, right? So then that's it. So that one little part right there is responsible for the profits I just showed you in the past 24 hours. Just that little process, okay? So the next thing is the thank you page to all this, whether they participate in the upsells or not, right, is they'll be taken to a webinar registration page. And the webinar is very, very good, and it's also positioned as a bonus to buying the book because it's very content rich, all right? So they can either register for the webinar or not. All right, so now I look and I say, well, did they register for it? And guess what? They don't all register for it. Who would have thought, right? If they don't register for it, I then put them in an invite sequence. It's a series of emails like, hey, you need to register for this webinar. It's a bonus for book buyers. It's really good. Here's what you're going to learn, right? And if they register, then on the day of the webinar, I send them a reminder sequence, and that webinar sells my Slack adjuster. Okay, so you can come back to me here for just a sec, Sass. All right, so this little chunk right here, oh, look, you can see it. Awesome. So this little chunk right here, this and this is what made the profits I just showed you. Okay, so this is where that money's coming from. This sells my Slack adjuster. My Slack adjuster is my client acquisition system, which is meant as a companion for this. Okay, so it's a little bit more expensive. It's $1,860 at a discount there. You could also buy it on my website if you wanted to for $3,000, but probably should get the book and go through the webinar and get your discount, right? And so if they don't register for this, then I'm just going to invite them to the webinar itself. So that whole thing is the first chunk of my book funnel. Now let me tell you something. This part is really optional, right? Like even if I don't have this, I'm still getting a book buyer at a pretty nice profit, right? And then of course they go on to buy the main thing. Okay, so it's kind of walk you through each little component individually so you can see it better. Hang on, I'll get a little water. Hope you all didn't pick up my water drinking sounds in the microphone there. Okay, so here's what my typical Facebook ad looks like. I test video ads, I test image ads. The test that you just saw right now that's producing all that profit, which is, again, I'd like to say, not a typical result. I can't believe I got so lucky as to launch a test and now it's working and I can show the results on camera in the same day. Like, that's very rare, but whatever. I'm a pretty lucky person, I suppose. So here's what my Facebook ad looks like. Nothing to it, right? Hey, go over here and get the book. This is actually an old ad because it says free book. Now it takes them to the sales letter. This is an older version of the sales letter back when I sold it as a physically shipped version. I no longer ship it physically. Now it's downloadable, okay? So then if they buy the book, they see one click upsell. This is the one that offers my reframe training. Okay, if they buy that, or if they don't buy that, it doesn't matter. They see my second upsell. This offers Video Black Box, and a lot of you guys have all of these trainings, and I hope you really enjoy them because I took a lot of pleasure in creating them for you. It was fun, and that's really kind of it for the thing that's generating all that profit every day. Like that's it. But I'm not going to get rich on making a 20% profit every day on my ad spend. 300% maybe so, but again, this morning was kind of a fluke. I think I just got a little bit lucky. Sometimes you get lucky, So no matter what happens, whether they take the upsells or not, the final page is registration for this automated webinar, right? And so it's, hey, this is free, it's for book owners only. And as you can see, there's no pressure, it's real friendly, there's no video, there's nothing hard. It's like, hey, here's some more stuff. Basically, it's going to help you get better results from your book. That's how it's positioned, because that's what it's meant to do. And if they don't register, I'm just going to send them a series of emails and go, hey man, you should register for this webinar. It's really good. You bought the book. I created this additional advanced training for you, and it's really, really helpful, right? And so that's it. That's the whole thing in terms of the first chunk of the book funnel. And that's what we're doing right now, is this first chunk, all right? Now, none of that includes the main thing that I sell, where the real money is. This is just our front end of the book funnel, right? So you can do great with just these parts. Right? Just these parts, you could just have like a nice little machine that pays you. Of course, if you build them right, it'll be a little bit of work to set up, as everything worthwhile is. But this is the first chunk. So in order to actually do this, here are the assets that you need, right? And here are the assets that I'm going to help you create during our time together, during this training, which is awesome. Okay, so number one, you need a book. Right? You got to get yourself a book. Don't want you to write one unless you just feel like writing one, nor do I want you to hire a ghostwriter. I'm going to show you how to handle that today. Number two, you need a sales letter for the book. Remember when I said there's no such thing as a free lunch? Well, we're going to have something that actually sells the book. Have no fear. Your main man, Frankie, is going to walk you through exactly how to do that, which will be awesome. I'm going to give you the framework during this very training, so you'll never wonder how to do it again. You'll be set. It could also be a sales video. Now, you're going to, if you want to sell things via one-click upsell, some people don't, right? I recommend you do. You're going to need something to sell, right? You're going to need a product. Now, have no fear. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to show you all the different product types you could offer. The whole lineup is going to be awesome, right? And you're going to need some videos for those one-click upsells, okay? Some video sales letters. You could actually write a sales letter, but the testing indicates typically a video sales letter works better for a one-click upsell. All right, not too hard to do. I'll give you the framework during this training. They're very friendly. These type of videos are very, very educational. They're very helpful to your buyers. So if you do it properly, your buyer is not like, I can't believe this peckerhead's trying to show me this thing. You actually help them in the upsell video, and then you're like, hey, if you want some more cool stuff, you can have it. Really cool way to go about doing that. I'll teach it to you. Then if you want to, now this is optional, keyword here is optional, you need a Slack adjuster product. Right? You don't have to have one, but I'm going to show you some concepts on how to do it. And then you need a funnel that sells the Slack adjuster, right? And I use automated webinars. I love automated webinars. They're very, very good. I like live ones too. Webinars are just cool, right? It allows you to really provide a lot of value up front. And then you're going to need the main thing, right? So a book funnel is all about selling the main thing. We never really think about the book until we think about what the main thing is. And I can hear you now. Right? I can hear you now. Oh, Lord, don't make me write a book. I don't want to write no book. Who would want to write a book? It's a pain in the ass, right? I don't want to write a book either. I didn't write either of these two books. Now it's my content. 100% of that is straight from here on to here. But I didn't write it, nor did I hire somebody else to write it. Don't want to hire a ghostwriter. It's not really you, right? It's like a kind of rehashed version of you that you might lose something in there. So there's a process, right? And every single one of the books I've gotten published, which I published myself, follow the same process. So thing number one is you got to think of whatever the main thing is you want to sell, right? Whether it's a service, whether it's a physical product, whatever, and you want to create a webinar that sells that thing. And you want to create that webinar even if you haven't sold it yet. Now come back to me real quick. Sass, if you wouldn't mind, bring the camera. There we go. Thank you, sir. All right, so when I built my campaign for this, right, I wanted the back end, the Slack adjuster thing, to be a an online class about how to get clients and how to actually take care of clients, how to run a consulting business. When I created the book funnel, the first thing I did was I created a webinar that sold that main thing class. That was the main thing at the time, right? It's no longer the main thing. Now it's just the Slack adjuster. But that was the main thing at the time. Guess what? When I built that pitch, I hadn't created the main thing, right? But what building the pitch did was allow me to get out of my head and onto like some document the coolest possible version of what the main thing would be, because I was excited, I was pitching it, and then all I had to do is go, oh, well, here's what I said would be in it. This sounds really freaking awesome. I'll make this in the product, right? Now, if that idea freaks you out, there's a process for it. I'm going to walk you through it. It's really, really simple. I'm going to show it to you today. It takes one piece of paper, uno piso o papiro. Okay, so next thing you want to do is you create that webinar and you record it. God forbid, not a recorded webinar. What if you screw it up? Well, here's the deal. You don't actually have to really try to make that webinar good. The only reason we're recording this webinar is so we can use that recording and get it transcribed, edited, and then turned into a book. Okay? So come back over here to your main man, Frankie, real quick. See this? This book is the edited transcript of the original webinar that I recorded. It wasn't nice. It wasn't good looking. Only purpose of the webinar was to get something out of my head onto a recording so someone could transcribe it and then edit it and make it look good. This book right here, Convert, same thing. I didn't sit down with a blank page and go, good Lord, I'm going to write an entire book. I mean, that's like writing a term paper. It's horrible, right? You don't want to do that. So I created a webinar. I recorded the webinar. The webinar was terrible, right? I made a million mistakes. It wasn't particularly good. Didn't care. Whole purpose of the webinar was to get something on recording that I can hand off to a transcriptionist and go, please make this usable. All right, I can go back and brush it up later, but kind of get this thing to the 80-yard line so it'll be good, so then I can make it better. Every single book, right, every one of them that has been a success, I have created in that particular fashion, right? So what we want to do now is I want to help you create this webinar. And again, I cannot stress this enough. You don't need to worry about this webinar being perfect right now. There are two people in the world that are going to hear this webinar. It's going to be you, and it's going to be whoever transcribes it, right? And then who cares what the transcriptionist thinks, because they're used to transcribing all kinds of stuff every single day, right? Now you can go back and make a really good webinar later. The purpose of recording this is to get it out of your head into a recording, into a document that can be edited and turned into a book. Now, here's what's going to happen when you get the transcripts back. You're going to have the urge to look at them. Don't look at the transcripts, okay? They're going to look terrible, because the way we talk when transcribed is awful. It's all run-on sentences and stumbling and stuff, and it's just weird, right? So if you were to describe or transcribe that last sentence, it'd be this long run-on sentence, and it wouldn't make any sense. Instead, get it transcribed. You're going to use a service like Rev, REV.com. It's a whopping $1 per minute. Nothing, right? Nothing. And then you're going to want to go to Fiverr, and you're going to want to go click on the writing and editing services, choose whoever has the best ratings and say, please edit this thing and make it usable so I can put it in a book. They're going to charge you a couple $100. Only look at the edited version. If you look at the transcript, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is horrible, I can't use it. Don't worry about it. Your editor person on Fiverr is going to make it nice, right? Then you get that edited version, you proof it, you tweak whatever you want to tweak, make sure, like, oh, I could have said that better, whatever. Now you got a book, baby, and it's rocking, and it's good. So what I'm going to do in our next, man, we're on perfect timing. This is amazing. What I'm going to do in the next little segment here is we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to walk you through two things. I'm going to walk you through what I call the ladder to yes, right, which is the framework for really making sure that what goes in here is actually very, very helpful. Okay, there's a very simple framework, so I'm not telling you just to record a bunch of crap. We're not going to do that. We're going to record something awesome for people. It's really going to help them. I'm going to show you the framework for that. Then I'm going to teach you how to turn it into a webinar. And by the way, the reason I want you to turn it into a webinar is because if you're reading something and you're looking at slides on your screen, it helps your mind stay focused, right? So if you just talk like you're giving a presentation, you won't self-edit. You won't get lost. That's the only reason we put it in webinar format, because it's just easy to remember where you are in terms of your presentation. Remember, you're the only one going to see this right now, just you and the transcriptionist. You don't have to give it to the public, so don't be afraid. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a couple minutes break. I'm going to get some more water. Going to have me one of them power bars or something to keep the energy up. And then when we come back, I'll show you how to actually make an awesome book using this process I just described. If you're enjoying this, please hit the like button, hit the heart button, share it with as many people as possible. Let's help as many people as we can. Everybody needs a book funnel. It can totally liberate you and actually provide a nice machine, quote unquote, that's bringing in customers at a profit so you can sell them your main thing. Enjoy this. I don't even know what we've got. I think we have a little video or something to play you while we drink water and get prepared for the next little segment. I'm Frank Kern. We'll be right back.